In today's episode of the vlog, I'm talking about anxiety. I'm not sure if you guys will remember this, but 2, 3, 4 months ago, something like that, I did a video talking all about anxiety on my YouTube channel. Anxiety is something that is very personal to me. It's something that I've suffered with for years and years and years since I was about 13 years old. That was a long time ago. But I'm thankful to report, as I said in my last video, I've been able to control my anxiety. My anxiety has been under control for the best part of, I don't know, 6, 7 years now. So I made that video as a way to kind of share my experience in the hope that it might help 1 or 2 other people. Because I know not everybody who watches my channel, not everybody will relate to anxiety because it's not something that's suffered by everybody. But, however, anxiety is pretty widespread. There are a lot of people who suffer anxiety who don't necessarily talk about it, who keep it to themselves. Meanwhile, you guys who are watching, even if you are not anxiety sufferers, you will know someone, I guarantee it, you will know someone, either a very close friend or a very close family member who suffers anxiety. This video is for all of these people. So even if you don't suffer anxiety, please, please, please send this video on to people you know who have anxiety. For me, when I was in the deepest throes of anxiety, one of the biggest comforts to me was knowing that I was not alone, that I was not the only person who was suffering this. There were other people who had exactly the same experiences. Because it felt really, really lonely at times, and to know that I wasn't suffering alone, that really calmed me down. Or otherwise, you might be somebody who actually has anxiety yourself, in which case, let me tell you, you're not alone. I am here, I've been through it all, and I've come out the other side, and I think I can help you. Now, I know that is a big statement, but here's the thing. I made that video on my YouTube channel not knowing whether many people would watch it or many people would identify with it, but just really as a way to share my experience of anxiety. And a lot of people watched that video, and I got some amazing, amazing comments from people who suffer anxiety, who told me through watching that video, their day or their experience with anxiety was so much better thanks to watching it, and that is exactly why I did it. So I have been thinking, right, because of all these comments that I got, which really, really moved me, to be honest with you, all these people sharing their terrible experiences with anxiety, is that I should do a series talking about all my anxiety experiences. Because if I look back over the years, right, I've had so many anxiety attacks, so many nights, sleepless nights, over the course of 15 years or whatever it's been, right? I know what it feels like. I know how despair can take over you, but I also know now, having lived it and having come through it, I know that there's light at the end of the tunnel, and I know that I can help just by speaking about my experiences. I'm not going to do this series like every other day or whatever, but it is a series I want to do sporadically here on the channel, and I'm going to call it Anxiety Diaries, because these are my anxiety diaries, going back in the past and talking about my experiences. One thing a lot of people have asked me about anxiety once they saw that video was like, but Shaun, you travel so much. Travel is one of the biggest things that worries me and it gives me anxiety. That's what a lot of people say. I got loads of questions and comments and direct messages on Instagram about that very topic. How can I travel so much? How can I face it with severe anxiety? And that is exactly what I'm going to talk about in today's vlog, because at the moment I am traveling, so it's very appropriate. Right now, today, at this moment, I have just arrived, literally about an hour or 2 ago, in Croatia. I have never ever been to Croatia in my life. I don't know what their language is, I don't know what they eat, I don't know diddly squat about Croatia. I'm quite embarrassed about that, but it's one of the few countries in the world that I don't know pretty much anything about, so it is quite an apprehensive time to be here. So I thought it'd be a good way to kind of launch this series, my anxiety diaries. Anyway, today I got a plane. In fact, I got 2 planes from Portugal. We left Lisbon this morning, early on. I'm not joking. We left our Airbnb at 5 in the morning. We flew all day. We had a 6-hour break in Madrid on the way there. The flights were fine, no problems, no hassles whatsoever. We arrived here in Croatia to an absolutely stunning sunset. We managed to work out to use Uber here, no problems whatsoever. But as a lot of people commented and sent me messages last time that I did an anxiety video, is how do I travel with anxiety and how do I cope with anxiety when traveling? Because there's so many things to that. And like I said before, Anxiety is different for every single person. Lots of things and unfamiliarities can trigger anxiety in people. And that is why travel is one of the big things, because you're leaving your comfort zone. If you take somebody who's got anxiety out of their comfort zone, guaranteed that will give them anxiety and could even trigger panic attacks. So travel is a prime kicker for anybody who has anxiety. If I look back to when I was really bad with anxiety, when I was about 18 years old, right? That's probably when I was round about my worst with my anxiety. I talked about in the last video, but I used to suffer heart palpitations. I used to worry about all the little things around me, overthink all the time. I am an overthinker. Even today I overthink, which sometimes can be dangerous, right? Especially for anxiety sufferers. But I made a kind of pledge to myself, and it kind of flows in with the theme of Adventure Everything, right? Which is my brand that I talk about on this channel quite a lot. Adventure Everything is about going there, doing things you would not usually do and getting out of your comfort zone. It sounds very counterintuitive, but for me, right, I decided to face anxiety head on. Things that I thought would make me anxious, things that I thought would worry me, things that I thought would totally take me out of my comfort zone and probably trigger anxiety, I would do them. So it'd be like, imagine if anxiety was a fire over there somewhere, right? Instead of staying well back from it, I used to run towards it. That's definitely how I dealt with anxiety, and that's how I came through the other side. I've talked about this before, but for me, I used to challenge myself by putting myself in the most uncomfortable situations possible and seeing how I could react and respond to my anxiety within my body, right? And you know what? What resulted from those types of experiences, especially with travel, is it would produce a lot of adrenaline. Adrenaline is a dangerous, dangerous drug, right? It exists within you. The chemical responses in your body that produce adrenaline can be great, and they can be really tricky, especially for anxiety sufferers, right? It is the fight or flight response. It is part of that. So when you get the anxiety and panic attacks, your body produces adrenaline, makes your heart race, and it makes you want to run for the exit. But it can also produce feelings of euphoria within you and makes you like push harder for things that you really want to achieve or need to achieve. I think the key is knowing what adrenaline is within your body and knowing how to utilize that to increase your performance. That can be tricky, but through a lot of experience, that can be achieved. So with travel, when I was 18 years old, as I say, in my deepest throes of anxiety, I decided I was going to go traveling, take myself out of my situation, take myself out of my comfort zone, and I went to Brazil. At that time, 18 years old, I knew nothing about Brazil. I knew nobody there, and I decided to go and throw myself into a new culture, a new country, and a new experience. And it was one of the best things I ever did. Just picture an 18-year-old lad with deep anxiety, right? Deep anxiety, sometimes not even comfortable leaving home. But here I was in Brazil on a travel experience on my own, right? And here's what happened. Over the 6 months that I was in Brazil, traveling alone, I never had a single anxiety or panic attack. I had anxious moments throughout that 6 months, but throughout that 6 months, I was able to keep it at bay. And the thing was, when I was traveling, I had all these new experiences. I was meeting all those new people. I was going to events, I was going to parties, I was going to all these new cool places, trying new things, and my mind was always occupied. And that is what the beauty of travel is. When you travel, your mind is occupied with new experiences. As I said, taking somebody out of their comfort zone into a new experience is an anxiety-provoking thought, right? If you can just get past that process of thinking about the anxiety that could relate from that experience and actually just throwing yourself into it, that is actually the hardest part. The thinking about the travel is far harder for somebody with anxiety than the actual travel. And a lot of people with anxiety won't actually know that, right? Until they actually experience what I'm talking about. The thoughts of travel, the thoughts of flying and all that kind of stuff, and going to a new place where you don't know anyone, don't speak the language, and all that kind of stuff. The thought of that is far worse than the actual doing of it. And when you get there and you're in a place where everything around you is different, you find your mind working in a new way, right? That's exactly what happened to me. I suddenly found myself in a situation where I was like, okay, I need to survive now. I don't have my mum and dad to help me. I don't have the NHS to help me. I'm in a new country. I don't know what the rules are. I don't know the language. I don't know anything. If I have anxiety here and fold up and just stay in bed, I'm going to die in a new country, and I don't want to die. I literally put myself in a situation where if I had an massive anxiety attack, I would be in big trouble because I was in a place where nobody could help me. And this sounds crazy, right? Because there's pretty much nowhere in the world where you're actually going to be in massive danger, really. But I think this experience for me, it kickstarted or pressed the switch on a primal thing within the head that says, I need to survive now. I do not have space or energy to give over to anxiety. And that's exactly what happened. I was occupied so heavily every day with getting to new cultures, getting to meet new people and new experiences, that I didn't have any energy or any thoughts left for anxiety. So while anxiety still existed within my body, during that 6 months I was in Brazil and traveling, I never had any energy or time or space left to give anxiety. That is basically what happened to me. And sure enough, when I came back home and settled into kind of my usual old bad habit routines, anxiety reappeared and I started to have bad panic attacks again. I ended up in accident and emergency again. We had palpitations, heart palpitations, a lot of them and all that kind of stuff. But I did find that every time I took myself out of that comfortable situation and into a new unknown situation, my anxiety disappeared. If you do travel right, when you come home at the end of every day, you are exhausted to the point where you just collapse and sleep and you have no time or energy for anything else. And that is what happened to me, and that is what keeps happening to me. I've said this in a vlog of times. I used to live in London, and that was a really bad experience in terms of anxiety for me. When I lived in London working in a job that I hated, my anxiety appeared something awful during that 4 years in London. And it was at the end of that time where I thought I need to make a change again. I remembered my experience when I was younger, when I was in Brazil, thinking I need to do something like that. So I left my job, I quit my job, which in itself was something really anxiety provoking, and I decided to go traveling, and it was the best thing I ever did. So listen, I know that anxiety is different for everybody, and what I'm saying might not apply to everybody, but this was my experience, this is my story, this is my anxiety diaries. I decided, and this was successful by the way, to put myself in the most uncomfortable, unfamiliar situations I could possibly think of, and that a lot of the time meant travel. So anyway guys, as I said, I'm here in Croatia. I don't know anything about this place whatsoever. I'll be here for the next 4 or 5 days, exploring the beaches here as well. There's amazing beaches right here in front of us. Going out to see the local foods, seeing what they are. We're going to hire a car, I think, as well, and go for a drive, and I'm just so excited and also exhausted as well. Like I said, travel will exhaust you, and that's certainly how I feel right now. I've been on the road for about 2 weeks now, and I'm exhausted. I'm totally exhausted, but that's a good thing. I just need to keep plodding on, keep producing these vlogs, and I want to do these anxiety diaries, one video every 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks, I don't know. But certainly after I did that last anxiety video and I got the reaction that I did, it encouraged me, right? Because at the end of the day, if I can help with just one person, just one, then it is worth me doing that video. The series playlist is down below. You can click that link and I'll put all the videos I've done that are relevant for anxiety there. When I was young, there was nobody to help me. I felt totally isolated. I know how it feels, and I don't want that for anyone else. So that is why I'm sharing this process and my story. Anyway, I'm going to bed now. We've arrived in Croatia. I'm tired. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I appreciate you all. Until the next adventure, I hope you have a good night, morning, evening, afternoon, or whatever time of day it is, wherever you are in the world. Take care.